Good afternoon, children. The theme of our lesson is Van Gogh and his relationship with his brother Theo. We have already discussed in detail the text and for home task you were given to make a report on Van Gogh and his art. Արտաշես is ready to make the report. So, please, Արտաշես, you can start.
Yes.
As Ms. Hacopyan said, my presentation is about Vincent van Gogh, a great post-impressionist. First, let's talk about Van Gogh's life. Vincent was born on March 30, 1853, in the village of Groot-Zandert. This is in the south of the Netherlands. Vincent's father was Theodor van Gogh, pastor of the Reformed Church, and his mother was Anna Cornelia Carbentus, daughter of the venerable bookbinder and bookseller from the Ogier. Vincent was the second oldest of the 7 children. He received his name in honor of his paternal grandfather. This name was the name of first child in family, who was born a year earlier than Vincent, but died not having lived for a day. So Vincent became the eldest of children. Now about the painting called A Wheatfield with Cypresses. It is one of 3 similar 1889 oil paintings by Vincent van Gogh as a part of his Wheatfield series. All were exhibited at the Saint-Remy de Massol mental asylum at Saint-Remy near Arles. The works were inspired by the view from the window at the asylum. The painting shows a field of ripe wheat with oil trees and cypresses towering above them, against the background of foothills and swirling clouds. Now about creative path of the artist. Van Gogh took up painting being already a mature man, and in just 10 years he ran the oath from a novice artist to a master. Self-portrait with bandaged ear and a pipe, written during Van Gogh's stay in Arles in January 1889. Vincent's friend Paul Gauguin, also a post-impressionist, came to visit Vincent, but creative differences cause a quarrel. Van Gogh throws a glass at a friend's head, then threw himself at him with a razor. In a fit of insanity, in the evening of the same day, Vincent cuts off his earlobe. Now about Paris in the fate of the artist. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris. The artist gets acquainted with the work of the Impressionists there and finds his own unique style. And here his career starts. Now about Café Terrace at Night. Was written by an artist in Paris. Vincent disliked the routine, and in this painting he masterfully overcomes it. As he later wrote to his brother, night is more lively and richer in colors than day. The interesting fact is that when painting, the artist did not use a single gram of black paint, and nevertheless he was able to depict the night sky and the unusual radiance of stars. Also about Paris, Van Gogh was born and raised in Holland, but as an artist he finally took shape in France. As I said, he met there many post-impressionists and found there his style. Now about the church at Auvers. Having left the mental hospital in Saint-Remy-de-Provence in May 1890, Van Gogh settled in the village of Auvers on the outskirts of Paris. In 2 months he painted 70 paintings, including this one. The church in the painting was built in 13th century and in the Gothic style. After the death of Van Gogh, the picture was chronicled in the private collection of his friend, the Dr. Paul Gachet, but in 1951 was transferred to the Louvre. Now about the death of the artist. Van Gogh lived only 37 years. His creative heritage is amazing. This is about 1,000 drawings and almost as many paintings created as a result of volcanic creative eruption. For 10 years he has created more than 2,100 works, including about 860 oil paintings, among them portraits, self-portraits, landscapes and still lifes with the image of olive trees, cypresses, fields of wheat and sunflowers. Most critics did not notice Van Gogh until his suicide at the age of 37, which was preceded by years of anxiety, poverty and mental disorders. Now about a pair of shoes. One of the artists Van Gogh met in Paris recalls how Vincent was looking for suitable shoes for this painting. In the flea market he bought a pair of old, large, clumsy shoes of some kind of hard worker. There was nothing remarkable in them. But one afternoon, when it was raining heavily, he put them on and went for a walk. And now, mud-stained, they became much more interesting. The rumpled and worn out shoes symbolized the hard work and hard life of the workers. Van Gogh was able to draw 6 different paintings of these shoes. Also about the death of the artist. In the summer of 1890, in a fit of disappointment and sadness, Van Gogh shoots himself, ending his life full of great torment and great enthusiasm. Van Gogh's early life ended and the legend of Van Gogh began. Later I will say what legend is this. But now about Gauguin's chair. Paul Gauguin arrived in Arles. Vincent was very happy. For about 2 months the artists lived in a house on Lamartine Street. With this painting, Van Gogh wanted to show that it is such empty chairs that often serve as the personification of the owners. In addition to this picture is the painting called Vincent's Chair with a Pipe, which he wanted to convey the differences between the two artists. The Gauguin's chair is on the left and the Vincent's chair with the pipe is on the right. Now, as I said about the legend of the artist, the main creator of the legend was the German art critic Julius Mayer-Greffe. He quickly understood the scale of the great Dutchman's genius. Possessing a lively pen, Mayer-Greffe decided to write an artist's biography, but attractive for collectors and art lovers. The legend firmly established the idea of Van Gogh's unrecognition, that during his lifetime only one of his paintings, Red Vineyard in Arles, was sold. In fact, it was sold no worse than its contemporaries. Now about Red Vineyards in Arles. A short period of life in the town Arles is considered the most productive in the career of an artist. Gauguin came to him and Vincent dreamed of creating a settlement of artists heading by his friend. Van Gogh was inspired by the surrounding landscapes, views of the urban and rural areas. In November 1888, he wrote to his brother Theo, "Why you weren't with us on Sunday? We saw completely a red vineyard, red like a red wine. From a distance it seemed yellow, above it a green sky, around the earth purple after rain." In the same month this picture was painted. Now about the most expensive paintings by Van Gogh. In the land of the rising sun, the great Dutchman, thanks to legend, became began to be considered a cross between a Buddhist monarch and a samurai who made a harakiri. In 1987, Yasuda bought Van Gogh's sunflowers at an auction in London for $40 million. Now about these sunflowers. The name of two cycles of paintings by Vincent van Gogh. The first series was made in Paris in 1887. It is dedicated to lying flowers. The second series was completed a year later in Arles. It depicts a bucket of sunflowers in a vase. Two Parisian paintings acquired a friend of Van Gogh, Paul Gauguin. Three years later, the eccentric billionaire Giotto Saito paid $82 million at an auction in New York for Van Gogh's portrait of Dr. Gachet. For a decade, it was the most expensive painting in the world. Portrait of Dr. Gachet is a portrait of the attending doctor of Van Gogh, who monitored the artist's health on the slope of his life with a sprig of digitalis from which he prepared a medicinal potion for the artist. And about one of the most interesting and famous paintings by Van Gogh, Starry Night, made at a time when Van Gogh was in the hospital after a conflict with Gauguin and loss of the left earlobe. The painting, painted in one day in the hospital studio, depicts a view from the east window of the bedroom. Van Gogh made a series of drawings with this view. While he was forbidden to work in the bedroom, he could make sketches and charcoal of ink. Now I want to show some paintings by Van Gogh, not commenting them. This is the end. Thank you for your kind attention.
Well, thank you, Արտաշես. Well done. Now, please, your impressions on the presentation. Who wants to express?
This presentation was very interesting, informative, and educational. Thank you for giving us a chance to learn about this talented painter.
Mikhail, what about you?
Արտաշես, you have done a great work. It was very interesting for me. I liked the presentation in terms of design and in terms of interesting content.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, children, this is all for today. We'll go on at our next lesson. Goodbye.
Bye.